This week on Full Circle Florida, VPs, NPAs, and who's MIA. Our panel with a full breakdown of another fast-moving week in the race for the White House. Walz invited to the dance, Vance given another chance, and where in the world is Joe Biden? Plus, the fight to save the Florida Democratic Party. Who is the Florida voter? Republican, Democrat, or NPA? No party affiliation. Why this election is a big gamble and new insight on what's really at stake for all Floridians. Plus, back to school and the changes facing teachers and students. My one-on-one interview with the superintendent of Polk County, his mission for his students, and what got him emotional during our conversation. Let's get into it. He is a Tampa Bay reporter for Axios. Yacob Reyes making his debut on the panel here with us this week. And she, of course, is our valued voice of reason, as always, Dr. Susan MacManus. Okay, who is Tim Walz? What did we learn about him this week? Any negatives? Is he an asset to the ticket, or further proof that you don't vote for the bottom of the ticket, you vote for the top?
Well, he brought a lot to the ticket. Look at the publicity, record numbers showing up and whatever. He brings experience in two folds. One is Congress, which is very helpful. A lot of the Congress members were for him, and he brings gubernatorial experience. But he's a progressive. Now, what I think is interesting is that this is a year when vice presidential candidates have mattered more than ever before, because people are worried about, well, what happens if, a person dies in office or a person is killed by assassination. So people are focused a lot more on the VPs than they ever have been.
It feels like that blue wall in the Midwest, Yacob, is a lot more important than maybe other regions of the country with this race.
No, I think that's definitely the case. I think Axios recently published an article of how Pennsylvania is the new Florida. And I think that's very much true. And I think Walz is a bold choice. And I think oftentimes we view Democrats as being people on the defensive. And he's a natural voice for the offensive here. And I think that Republicans might be rattled by that.
You just wrote a piece, Yacob, on the big internal battle behind the scenes about the future of the Florida Democratic Party. Fascinating article. What did you learn? Why should all voters, Republican, Democrat, and NPAs, no party affiliation, care about the Democratic Party's fate in a state that has been trending red?
Well, I mean, I would use Nikki Fried's own pitch, and it's affordability, accountability, and abortion. We're looking right here. We have a state referendum happening. We have a restrictive law in place. In addition to that, we have skyrocketing prices. So I think Democrats are hoping to galvanize the message that the Florida we have today with all of its issues can be different. So, I mean, if we want to have a democracy, I think to some degree we should pay attention to what's happening.
Susan, you need a competitive Democratic Party in Florida, right? Doesn't it sort of keep both sides honest?
There's an old saying, democracy is about choice.
Yeah.
And Democrats have an opportunity to close some gap. One of their problems historically of late has been turnout. It's not, now of course it's registration as well, but turning out voters has been a problem. And here is an opportunity for them this year because of the generational changes that have taken place in Florida. The two youngest demographics, millennials and Gen Zers, are now 34% of Florida's registered voters. A lot of them are NPAs. There's an opportunity there, and Democrats really have to take a close look because they know that's key to winning Florida anymore, is winning that young vote.
Where is President Joe Biden? We're not seeing him a lot. Is that obviously on purpose? But the world keeps spinning. There are conflicts all over the world. Should he be out there more?
A big question is, should he, and will he go on the campaign trail? This is a thing right now. People are very fearful of what's happening. Foreign policy is elevated to a higher level than we see in a lot of campaigns. They're worried about leadership. And if he's not going to go out or not make a presence, then ultimately, and she isn't speaking directly to some of these issues, that becomes a problem. But Biden is in a quandary. Does he go out on the campaign trail and support her? Or does he stay and just read off a teleprompter? Either way, it's suddenly going to be traced back to her and what she does.
On the flip side of that ticket, we're talking about the Republicans, Trump and Vance. Is JD Vance hurting Donald Trump? Has he recovered from these opening stumbles, or has he become a political liability for Donald Trump?
I think he's definitely regaining some footing. as an attack dog. I think he's tried to unleash that, like going into some of these Midwestern states and bashing Harris. I mean, there are a lot of liabilities that come with him. I think Republicans were very much feeling some buyer's remorse, what with comments about childless cat ladies running the country.
Well, how do you win an election if you are insulting women? I don't understand the tactic there. And he's trying to recover from that, but still.
Well, of course. And obviously Trump has a problem, too, with calling a candidate stupid. That's not smart politics. And particularly, though, you have to remember that women are not a cohesive bloc. They have long been divided. Right now, currently, there's an equal number or percentage of registered Republican women and registered Democratic women in Florida.
Florida got hit with another hurricane this week. We're still early in this season. Citizens asking people for a 14% rate increase. Can the state do more about this? It just feels like we're in this place now where we know we're going to get whacked by one of these every year, and we're kind of at the mercy of, crossing our fingers and hoping it doesn't happen, but it will.
This was an issue that Democrats had brought up repeatedly during legislative sessions, and they felt that Ron DeSantis had not done enough during his first 4 years to address this. There was 2 special sessions now with respect to this issue, and most of the stuff was with the promise that we're not going to provide relief to consumers, we're going to provide relief to the companies. But now what we're seeing is customers didn't get that relief, but now rates are going higher.
So I got 5 seconds left. Susan, you say this should be more of a federal concentration here.
The whole issue about catastrophes, natural disasters, they can ruin a state's budget in a heartbeat.
All right, guys, hang with me. We'll be back in a second. Next on Full Circle Florida, why doesn't Kamala Harris take more questions from reporters? ABC News political correspondent Rachel Bade joins me next.